Analyzing overall market trends and my top altcoin picks.
If we see an overall market downturn, on this weekly time frame, even though we have the TSIs going green, they're starting to turn a bit. It could go either way. When in doubt, get out. And so we rejected at the 21 and 50 week EMA. And so we really just need to get back above that. Obviously, you're probably saying, no shit, Sherlock. But this is kind of how it goes. Let's go back to this. How does it usually happen? When in doubt, zoom out. Always helps to look at the personality of the coins. So the last time the TSI did finally get going, it did kind of roll over first, right? So let me just turn off these other things. We don't need these quite yet. The signal line turned green later. The advantage of this time, though, is that we did have a bullish RSI at the same time as the ERI. So it's a little bit tricky. So the ERI, the bearish ERI signaling here, that was a bearish signal, but we are getting one at this point on Ondo. However, we're only midweek. So this is something you're going to want to watch for Sunday night. If this ERI is still bearish, we may want to lower some position size on Ondo, although probably we're buying at a good price in this range over here. But again, on this, when the TSI rolled up last time, it kind of went sideways, kind of dipped down a little bit, couple weeks in, and then it just took off. So we want to be kind of aware of this. I really think Ondo is going to be a leader in the DeFi space, and so I think I'm going to hold on to it. And if we do roll over, dollar cost, buy some more or just sit tight. That's my read on that. So stocks, Ondo, Helium, Sol, those are my top ones I'm kind of watching and holding. Aptos, Aptos has had great charts in the past and not so great charts in the past. What we're trying to do is catch the next upswing, because we saw over here, even did this little kind of fake throw over on these 3 weeks here, and then boom, it ran. Okay, so it kind of looked like it was going to roll over, and then it took off. So I'm going to stick to my guns here on Aptos, really, again, looking at weekly charts, letting the daily chop sort out. And so, if the daily and weekly get oversold together and then turn, that's when magic happens. So I think that is really what's happening here, just trying to kind of get retail to quit and walk away out of frustration and volatility. But we're close to the bottom. It's not like, and look at this, even with an ERI that rolled over, it didn't drop too much. On a percentage basis, maybe 20% from $6 to $5 plus, 20% plus. I could say 20% because it wasn't quite at 6, but that's not too bad. The most important thing is, the reason I'm not worried is we could easily put in a higher low or retest this area, but we have a buy block down in that region on this daily. So that's why for these, I'm confident in holding on to that. And worst case scenario, putting stop losses below the buy block, say, let's say stop loss is $4 on Aptos. If we start losing that, then it's going to be crash city. And, we never know with these things. So it is important to start having your stop losses at least mentally setting alarms and alerts for those. AIOZ I've been playing around with, don't have a huge position. It's has a bunch of sell pressure overhead on the daily, but the weekly looks a little bit better on AIOZ. But again, really needs to get above that big buy block in this region. That's why I like that. Looking at Filecoin, and then we'll look at SUI. Filecoin just kind of taking its time, waiting for that TSI to go green. It's not quite there yet, but it's inching its way higher. And boom, when these things, same things, all these points have their own personality. So if you zoom out and see how they've behaved in the past, this over here kind of went chopped around a bit for a few weeks, and then boom, Filecoin off to the races. When was this? Back in October 2023. We got in it back then. We had a great run, and we saw this big move. So this is still the base case, what we're waiting for, and we will still be selling into sell blocks. Okay, it's important we get ready for that and not selling everything, but selling half, sell a third, sell a half, take some profits off the table. Even though everyone's going to be screaming for $1 million Bitcoin, we have to take advantage of these great signals that we have. And 9 times out of 10, 8 or 9 times out of 10, the sell blocks hold and prices reverse. It's rare that we blow right through it. And if it does, I'd rather buy back into strength anyway. So I'm just going to throw that out there and keep repeating that for you guys. So kind of dark in here. I'll turn my head around and get some more light on the camera. But anyway, most of all, you guys can hopefully hear me okay. So AIOZ Filecoin we looked at. Let's look at Filecoin on the daily. Also oversold, waiting for another dip lower. We're just kind of in a waiting game, you guys. I think probably maybe it's next week that things start to happen, but it could happen at any time. We still have people like Samson Mao talking about the Omega candle. Of course, I would discount that, take it with a grain of salt. He's a perma bull and always kind of throwing out. He's the new Kathy Wood. Samson Mao is the new Kathy Wood because she was pushing $1 million Bitcoin back in the last cycle, or $100,000 going straight there, and then $1 million 2030. Now she's up to her estimates to 2.5 million. Can't discount that, but it's kind of like the boy or girl who cried wolf. So again, we're in a waiting game here. Not to sound repetitive, I can't wait till it's exciting again. I can say, guys, finally, all of our patience has paid off, and we keep having false starts. And I know it is mind numbing and maddening to keep kind of waiting around for this thing. Sui, now let's take a look at Sui. Sui has a nice uptrending channel here, and you can draw these on your own, obviously. So we got that. This is on the weekly time frame. So on a macro scale, Sui is looking very good, actually. Nice big money flow buy block. Price is holding above the 21 and 50 EMA, so that's good. Rallied out of this. That's got a strong narrative because it's in the transaction per second. And I think, look, guys, the reason you have to give me credit. I've been one of the few people saying TPS is going to be the hot sector. No one else, everyone else is gaming, this, that, and the other. But I was saying for a while now, longer than I know, that look, companies that make money and have a real business model like Visa, MasterCard, or the transactions per second, these guys are going to do well. That's Solana, that's Sui. We're not really watching Metis as much, Cardano. These are KuCoin darlings, I would tend to stay away from those. But anything in the transaction per second space is going to be leader because that's where the big money wants to invest to get their little VIG of every little charge and transaction in the future. So with that in mind, Sui is looking pretty solid. Let's look at it on a daily. I like the weekly chart. How many of you guys have some Sui? Sui getting another bullish early reversal indicator, which is interesting. TSI heading lower. So what do we do here? It's a little bit tricky. So what would you do here? This is a case where the TSI is going down, but we have a 21-day and a 50-day, which if it was that alone, I'll give you the answer here. If it was that alone, I wouldn't do anything. They kind of cancel each other out. But what do we have? We have these big money flow blocks, and we know price tends to hold and be respected at these money flow blocks. Not one, not two, but three of them. And right here, we have a money flow block at the 21-day EMA. So normally, the TSI is my kind of golden, is my North Star. I will very, very rarely buy anything with a TSI going lower or just breaking down below the 80. And even then, I would exercise caution. I do have some Sui. It's tempting, but I think what I'll do is I'll wait another day. And we still don't have really the comments that a lot of people saying buy gold. Let me see what's going on here. So I don't see Powell as speaking. I got some talking heads. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. Maybe you guys can tell me. But we can see that the markets aren't really reacting. What I'm going to do is drag Sui a little higher on my watch list. So that just kind of tells me as my clue to pay more attention to these on the higher level of the list, as you can see. So with that, though, not a whole lot of green in here, guys. Do you want me to look at any coins? I'll certainly keep you updated, but I don't think there's that much to look at here. Now, here's another Sui platform. Sorry, CFI. I got that wrong. SPT. I was thinking Sui Pad. But let's take a look at the Sui ecosystems. These kind of still waiting. Lots of sell pressure overhead. Seeing a little bit of movement from Brett token here. I'd stay away from meme coins in general. And just scrolling through the list, I'm not seeing a whole lot, you guys. I think really what I would suggest is this. Wait till the end of the day, see how things get sorted out and absorbed. It's not clear from the comments that I'm hearing or watching that there's really any breaking news. Fed risks of higher unemployment, higher inflation have risen. I mean, same thing I was saying a little while ago. All right. Total market cap. Let's take a look at that. We still have quite a bit of sell pressure on the total market cap, but that is Bitcoin and Ethereum, I believe. You see how there's multiple layers of selling pressure in this range, right around that $3 trillion range. Again, that was the high of the last cycle. So, maybe there's a lot of people just trying to dump things from the last cycle. Total 2, It does not include Bitcoin. It does include Ethereum. A lot of sell pressure overhead. So we need to really kind of get over to total 3, where we see that sell pressure lighten up a bit. It's not as heavy or thick, but it is there. So we have to kind of build market structure, keep putting in higher lows to bounce off of and break through these levels. So we want to be looking for some altcoin movement. DeFi, not quite there yet, rolling over again, most likely. So you guys, it's a little bit disappointing that we're not seeing more movement. Bitcoin dominance has gone up to, it's in that middle range. So it is really in an area where Bitcoin dominance can, at least chop around a bit. These things don't usually blast right through them. And we're seeing, in contrast, Sol dominance up slightly, ETH dominance down, nothing notable here at all. Nothing notable at all. So now the USDT dominance chart, I could load up that study, but it's really not doing too much as well. It's a pretty quiet day in the markets.
Hey, this is Brett from Moonstream. If you'd like to learn more about our pro trading signals or our live classes every Wednesday or our Retire Rich program, go over to moonstream.io/start.